Hey everyone, this is Brittany Benson with Don't Eat the Art. Glad you could join us today. I have a little more sun. I did get some new bulbs for my light box, so you'll get to see this a bit. You do not need a light box to do what we're about to do. You can either color it just on your lap or table or whatever, and then hold it up to the sun or something and look at it there. That's what the end product will be getting to do, but I do have this light box and I almost never get to use it, so here's a reason for me to drag it out. So I have this tissue paper that came in a card binder I bought recently, and I thought, hey, I could use that for something. So, and she is working on standard copy paper.
And I made a telephone.
That is one funky telephone. Okay, so I have I have some pieces of glass that I had specially cut for this old cabinet that I had, and then I eventually got rid of the cabinet, but wanted to keep the nice glass. So, see, it's not sharp on the edges, so it's safe to touch. But what I'm going to do is I want to make a little sun catcher. So I'm going to illustrate on this, and then we're going to mount it to this piece of glass. So I just want to make sure. Okay, so I can use most of the paper. I didn't want to like color more than what I'm going to use. So. I think I'm going to do Tramia insularis, which is a species that's made me rather grumpy.
What happened on your
I
nose?
don't know.
Maybe it was my Yama, the beat right there.
What?
My Yama.
My Yama?
No, mine.
Your Amma?
No, Yama.
Oh, your Yama. Oh, come on, guys. Anyway, this is a species that would have been a state record last season on our last day in the field. and we spent like 3 hours chasing this little bug. And there's a common species that looks a whole lot like it.
When we got to a different one, I got two beetles.
Yeah.
So I'm adding little.
Anyway, we like climbed over this little mountain thing to the pond, found it, and the common species kept flying by, and I started thinking, man, maybe it wasn't this cool new species, and then it'd fly by and be like, oh, that's definitely something different. So we got to the point where we're just catching all the common species and like putting them in our pockets and our envelopes until the plan was to release them once we caught the species. And I had this hole in my net from when we were crossing over the mountain, and I was being really careful to make sure I got everything down to the bottom of my net and twisting it over and grabbing it before they could have a chance to crawl out of it, except for one. And we never saw, after that one squirted out my hole, we never saw that funky looking one again. But we're pretty sure it was Enceladus. Anyway, I'm going to make a present for my boyfriend and I'm going to make him an Enceladus. I don't know why I'm doing like that. Oh, and he's going to see it tonight, so I guess it's not going to be a Christmas present,
So this is...
Right, so...
Spoink.
That is a funky... Oh, I like how you did the tail. Spoink stuff. And let's see, I'm just going to go in place. Got this little... I wish I had a larger pen right now, but that's okay. I guess I'll just use this one.
What is that?
Careful, well, it's a big bump, what it is.
No, that you're making.
Well, it's Tremula Insularis.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I love this species. It's just great.
Yeah, and me too. I'm making the dark. Well, I'm just making the ring. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay guys, so I just realized that a lot of what I just did wasn't really showing up because of the way the lighting had adjusted. So I've auto-locked it now, or locked the focus and the lighting, so hopefully it'll stay adjusted. Anyway, I have the sketch done, and now I'm going to add the color. So, I guess I don't have a test paper with me. Oh well, I'll just have to test that I'm getting the right stuff. So, this species is kind of a bright red, but let's see how this light rouge works. This might be too light, let me see. Whoa. Way too light. Okay, let's go for lipstick red. This seems to not be soaking up the color very well.
I have lips.
Oh, there we go.
I have lips.
You do have lips.
Yeah, it's just like you're using.
Yeah?
So what is that?
It's Tramia insularis.
Like...
It's a lot like Tramia nusta. Remember Anusta? You see Anusta a lot.
I saw one last night when I was catching.
Wow, last night?
Yeah. It just flew away and then I just didn't saw it. Then I just saw one of these ones. One of these right here.
Oh, the Orthinus ferruginea?
Yeah. And then that one just flew away.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't know it. Then it flew away and then I didn't saw one.
Yeah, they do that. Certainly
Well,
what
I
Insularis did.
saw it when I was bigger. I saw one and then when I was little with you and Buffalo, I didn't saw one of those. And then I just started getting like one of these.
Oh.
And then one of these just flew away too.
Oh my goodness.
So I catched one of those big ones right there.
Wow.
So I didn't catch one, but that was great. Now you talk.
Okay. So, I'm gonna have to grab some rubbing alcohol and a cotton swab to clean this up after a bit. I'd probably need to, or if you do something like this, you'll probably want to have it on hand throughout the process. I won't get up and do that now. But unless it starts to get too distracting for my background. I've never really colored on tracing paper except for with colored pencils, so this is definitely a new experience. So if you're working on your table or something, make sure you have something underneath. Anytime I'm working with markers, I try to do that anyway. Oh, let me see. I hope I didn't bump that. Oh, I did. Ugh. There we go. Ugh. Anyway, so
I'm going to tell you. So I catch one of those ones. Then that big one just flew away. And then I just heard it's one of these came by. I be quiet with before. And then oats said making more oats.
Yep.
That's what they do.
Yeah, that is what they do.
So everybody, I want you to get this part of the white. It's under there. So everybody, I'm going to meet my mom with you. So if you exactly nothing to do.
Alright, so this is
So do you want to try this?
no, thank you. I'm using markers. This is rather tricky. This might work better with some sort of
I can use some little crayons. So I have a crayon full of box. I have a crayon box. So I'm going to set it here. So when I'm done with these ones, I'm going to use a little regular. But if you don't, I will do it. But if you don't, I will. So I can try a little sample. So I can use some of your paper. So I can use purple on spline, and it's going to be a white rouge. So watch, I will have white rouge.
so it might be worth getting some sort of paint. I know that there are transparent paints for painting on glass, stuff like that. I guess you can paint directly onto the glass, of course, but I kind of wanted the foggy look of the tracing paper. But if you are using markers, you're going to have to do a few layers because it's not taking very well, so I'm having to continuously go over it to get it as dark as I prefer. So that's just heads up on that. Now we're going to do some of the water, and I'm a little unsure what colors to use. We're going to try this, see what happens. Oh, hey, that's actually... See, I tell you this about the color not taking well, and this one goes on quite
So this
smoothly.
is Wobble Fit. It's a greenish one, and somebody else has a green Wobble Fit. Like I have a vent. But it's not like greenish. It's just like actually dark blue.
Is it bluish?
Yeah. It is a little dark bluish, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. Well, I actually dropped one, so I can use a little help. So I can use a little sample. So here we go. So I want you to meet my mom. So I want you to. And so everybody, you will try to interrupt when you're done. But if you can, I can do it. So I want you to something. I also dropped a tiny bit of whitish. You want to try whitish?
No, I'm just not coloring where they're supposed to be white.
Well, let me see. Wow, that's what neat.
Why, thank you. I think it's almost done. Just have a few more things to do. I really wanted to add some of the rocks, but I may not get to add too many of those.
Well, I want you to do like I always do.
Like you always do.
Oh, that one is a little darker.
Yes, not really dark.
So here's a different color. So
Yeah, I'm gonna try looking for my W7.
W7. This is a different green.
Yeah, it's showing up a bit better.
Yeah. So I want you to meet my mom. So I can do. That's what you do when you're done. But I have a brush you can sweep for the ground to get up. So you can get it a little off. So you use your. So I can meet. So get on. So if you do, you have to. But if you don't, I can do it. So I can sweep on here. So do a little further. Did I say too much?
No, you're fine.
No, too much rocks, I said.
No. I think yours looks great.
Yeah, I'm going to make very cool rocks. They're just kind of little, they're just pink. I'm just making lots of rocks. So I want it like this, so I can have it a little farther right there. So I want it to stay there. So I want it to be right here and here. So a little farther. So I can little get it like this. So I can make little rocks. So I can sink. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, we've been rolling, kiddo.
So I can little. I was thinking be to one of the people.
Oh.
So everybody, I can do some samples of rocks, but I cannot get too much. But I have to use oil next time. But I need oil last earlier. So can I see this?
Oh, when it's done.
Wow, it looks great.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. Can I see the back of it?
Well, in just a minute.
Wow.
All right, so I think that's about all I'll do for this Pepe.
Well, I'm not done
Oh, I
yet.
have one thing I need to add.
So I can use I need to finish mine, so I need to finish it. So when we are done, I'm gonna try the brush. So I'm gonna make some little green ones now. So I can make little stuff. So little rocks. So I'm going to add a lot. I'm going to add a lot so I can make a little water. So I'm going to make some right now, and it's actually kind of watery rush. You can know this is the water where Pokemon live, and it is a sunny day when it's not raining, but if you do, I will have to. But if I don't, I will show them my picture. So
Okay.
I'm not done with it, but I can use the water. I need to finish the water. So Pokemon is Yama, and all Pokemon is water Pokemon. And I know is some people just don't know Yama is going to crash windows when it gets its wings to do. That's what it does with its wings, shadow windows, at first. So I get it a little shape pond. So I'm making a pond so I can get more water. So I'm going to use this one so I can use it. It looks better, so it can. I'm going to try this color. See if it's okay.
Okay, guys, I think I am done for now. I think it's ready to mount, and I did end up going all the way to the edges like I was worried I was going to do.
I thought this color is not working.
Oh, well, alright guys, I definitely got this a little off the edges, so I'm going to just have to pick and choose what to do here. Yeah, alright, so I think what I'll do, so I have this Mod Podge, well, decoupage, glue sealer. Let's see if I can get it. I can't.
That is very tricky to do.
Yeah, got glued shut. Oh man, that's not good.
Did we buy that?
Yep. And then I used it, and then I guess what was on the lid. Oh man. Okay,
So, this is yours?
there we go. Okay, we got it. Hold on.
Hi,
Alright.
yay!
Yeah. Yay. Okay. blue.
I just want to.
Well, it's not good to sniff glue. But it's not good for you. It's blue. Okay, so I'm going to try to be kind of careful with putting this on.
Glass?
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Well, good. This is blue. Alright, so I'm going to just get this, and I definitely need to have that Cersei on there. Or those Cersei. Let's see, getting this straight is going to be tricky. Whoa, that looks weird. Oh boy. It's tricky
That's
stuff.
what
man.
I do too. Let me see.
I'm trying to get the air bubbles out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to.
Thanks.
What green and blue make together?
Green and blue would make a blue-green.
Blue, green, wow. Purple, red make brown.
Wow.
Say that's right.
Purple and red make like a violet purple. Brown would be if you throw in some orange or green.
Orange and green make
Yeah, that makes sense.
purple.
Oh, orange and green make brown.
Why? Making a little simple.
No. This is a whole thing.
I'm not done with mine.
Oh, well, better get on that then.
Oops. So, so it's already done, but it's not. And there's also a hand in the water, and there's actually the lake. So I will try to stick my hand in and get it all right done. So I'll show them this.
Oh, okay. Just hold it up where they can see it.
So
Wow.
I made this, and it looks so cool. And I know I made it, and it has water. I'll show you it.
Wow, good job. That was
It's-
excellent.
Yeah, take a picture of
Well,
it.
the camera is rolling right now. We'll have to take a picture later.
Later.
Okay, so my solution was to simply wrap the illustration around. It wasn't going to be a bunch to distract from the bulk of it, but maybe it'll look nice and maybe it'll just look weird. We don't know. We'll have to find out.
So this one is already done, but no, it's not. It's actually have a little water, so I need to do this so I can use a little bit. I need to use this so I can make dark blue.
Ooh.
Dark blue. It's like a brownish kind blue.
Okay, so obviously it's going to look a little funky as it dries. It may keep the weird wrinkles, I don't know, which could actually look kind of cool. But here's what we're going for with our little sun catcher. Woo, almost dropped it. I'm not sure how long it takes to dry, but yeah, see how it looks kind of pale and weird from this angle. But once you shine the sun through it, it looks okay, except for those weird blobs. But again, this is supposed to dry clear, so maybe it will be okay. Just thought I'd hold this up to the sun for you guys, just to really show how intense that can be. Wow. But anyway, I was also going to mention, so you may remember how I wrapped, the paper was a little bit longer than the glass, so I wrapped it around the edge and glued it that way, and it had actually come over the edge a bit, and it was a little sloppy, but I was like, well, that's the side that's not going to show anyway, so well, when I decided to flip it around this way, that meant there were some weird edges and visible glue globs. So what I did was I got an X-Acto knife, so be very careful if you ever use those, they're very sharp, and I carefully cut the paper to be flush. So I kind of like how it has that wrapped around look here, but then it stops at the image we're viewing. Now this side came out a little more sloppy because I think I didn't have enough glue on there to hold it as tight when I was cutting. So I can fix that later, but this side's definitely more what I was after. But there was all these glue globs, and what I did was after I got done cutting the paper, I just went with the X-Acto knife and carefully scraped away all the glue. I mean, I used to, when I was a kid, I kept aquariums all the time, and whenever I'd clean them, I would like do a full cleaning. I'd take them out to the backyard, and I'd actually use razor blades to scrape off the hard water issues, or hard waters and spots and algae, stuff like that. So they're definitely great for cleaning glass. Just be careful with them. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that if you did something like this, to let you know that X-Acto knives can help clean things up. Ta-da! Hey everyone, so we finished. This is all dry now. We finished this yesterday, and now it's ready to go. So this is the side I originally thought I was going to be showing, which yeah, it's not really working for me. So that was a bummer. And what's funny is I thought that when I flipped it this way, and see, I decided that looks really nice. I like that a lot. Make sure it got focused. Woo. Anyway, I was worried that this was going to be mirror image, since I glued it on thinking this is what I was going to be looking at. So I was going to tell you guys to be sure, whichever way you decided to do it, to make sure the image is facing the way that you want it to be viewed. But apparently I was a dope and glued it backwards, at least to what I was originally going to do, and so when I decided to flip it around, it was actually correct this way. So my signature looks okay. That was the only thing that really would have been affected if it was backward, mirror view. So turns out worked out just right anyway. But if you have something with words, or you're concerned about your signature being mirror view, or the image itself, because like, I look at this and this is how I saw, even though it's a really vague representation, this is pretty much how I feel about that pond. And so I was like picturing, kind of envisioning the layout when I drew this. So it would have just kind of felt weird to me, but it wouldn't have been a big deal to anyone else. So just keep that in mind if you do this. And I would suggest, like, I'm not sure if I'd want to offer this sort of thing for sale yet, because I'm not sure how sturdy this is. So if you're an artist who sells your work, that might be something to try to figure out. I'll definitely be testing this. But one option could be to maybe get another piece of glass on the back and kind of sandwich it in there, sort of like a float frame, and then like maybe get a frame with no back, just the outside part of the frame to hang in your window or whatever, and that would hold the pieces of glass together. I may do that anyway for a single piece to figure out some way to hang it. I could probably take it to the glass place and have a hole or two drilled if I wanted to like hang it by some chains, like a lot of little stained glass window catchers I see. I'll figure something out like that, but for just the test run, this was actually pretty cool. I was also going to note, as earlier when we were showing the coloring, I mentioned that I was having a hard time getting certain pigments to take, and even when it was taking okay, I was having to do extra layers. Well, I did a little bit more on another one today, and it took just fine, so it might have just been the side of the paper I used. So just maybe test it out a little bit if you have spare paper, and make sure you're using the side that's more receptive to the ink. So I know that now, and so for next time I'll have an easier time. But there we go. Awesome little stained glass mount. For great use of some glass I just had laying around that I didn't want to throw out because it was nice glass, but otherwise had no use for it. So that was a fun thing to do for, and also the paper itself. I mean, I normally have tissue paper, tracing paper on hand, but this was some paper that was just in this little binder I bought, and I was like, oh, why throw that out? That looks like something I could do a project with, and I was correct. So always have fun with whatever you have laying around. It was meant to be viewed this way, but then I think it's easier that way.
See those? What is that old?
Let's see if Boofer can figure it out.
Take this.
Which one is it, Boofer?
It's the one that squeezed out of the hole in your neck, Boober.
This one has the grouchy
Is that the answer?
Maybe.
That would make you happy?
Hey, this one has the grouchy one.
Just for you.
Yeah, thanks. That's fabulous.
That grouchy one is in there.
See, we can even put it in the window so you can look at it every day. Look at this.
Once you put it down low.
Look at this.
Boofer can take that.
Ta-da! Look at it. It's cruising around the pond. I even put all the branches and stuff that are in the pond and the sunflowers.